Welcome to the Junkyard Rat Show. I'm Junkyard Rat, live from District 12 here in sunny San Francisco. Happy MLK Day. It is a beautiful day. And today's guest is the newest member of the Edge Studios family. We got Ralph Zig Tyke and his show, Zig in the Zone. How you doing, Zig?
Very good, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Are you excited to be here?
I'm like a little boy. I'm learning so much stuff from Paul, and it's nice meeting you before.
It's nice meeting you too. I see you got your book here.
Yeah.
What's your book about?
My book's a baseball book, history of baseball, and I wrote it 2 years ago with George Grimm, and I love to talk about it. Are you a baseball fan?
Yeah, I'm a big Angels fan.
Angels.
Are you like a Giants or A's fan?
I was a New York Giant fan.
Oh, were you really?
Became a Met fan, and when I got out to California, there were my Giants who had moved. So, but I have an interesting story about the Angels. When I did the Tops gig, I got to cover the minor league teams that the Angels did, and tremendous. I got to befriend myself with all the minor league coaches and managers of the Angels. And I just wanted to mention an Angel guru pitching coach from New York, from St. John's, Howie Gershberg, passed away a few years ago, and his friends still miss him. So,
that's too bad.
Yeah, that's part of it.
So what Angels players did you meet back in those days?
Well, I signed Jim Edmonds.
Oh yeah,
to
Jim
a
Edmonds
contract.
Yeah.
Dante Bichette to a Topps contract. And my favorite person to talk about was Troy Percival.
Oh yeah.
Who started out as a catcher and was converted by Howie Gershberg, who was a pitching coach, but he saw that Troy had a bit of pop and was a catcher as well, and so he started out as a catcher, and Howie recognized his arm.
He became a pitcher, right?
I signed him to a Topps card.
He's a pitcher. Those were the members of the only World Series champions in 2002,
and they beat out the Giants.
They beat out the Giants,
on a home run by Ed Spezio.
I remember Game 6 when the Angels were losing by 5 runs.
Right,
and they came back.
And Dusty flipped the ball as if he was going to win it.
Yeah.
And that inspired the Angel bench, if they needed inspiring at that point of the World Series. But they came back and beat the Giants. And I almost was in a place because the Giants did me wrong when I was a New York Giant fan.
Yeah, they moved
I'm a
down
little
here,
kid. 11 years old, you lose your team.
And they traded Willie Mays to the Mets, didn't they?
In 1972.
Yeah, they traded Willie Mays to the Mets.
I'll give you a trivia question. You could win a book.
Okay.
Who did they trade Willie Mays for?
It wasn't Nolan Ryan, was it?
No, it wasn't.
That was
the Mets. The Mets traded Nolan Ryan to the Angels. But
no, it was the other. Oh yeah, it was the other way around. Oh no, he did get traded to the Angels.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And
who else could it have been? You got another guess.
It was
72 is the year I was born. It's hard. Who was it?
Charlie Williams, a pitcher, an indescribable pitcher, was traded for number 24.
You know Jackie Robinson. I think They tried to trade him too, didn't they?
At the end of his career, they traded him to the Giants, and he retired.
Yeah,
rather than
refused to play.
became a
Yeah,
Giant.
yeah.
In those days, the rivalry between the Giants and the Dodgers was incredible.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And he just refused to put on a Giant uniform. Truth of the matter is, he had a contract with chock full of nuts.
Yeah, the coffee company.
The
Yeah,
coffee company to become a vice president.
yeah.
And he was great. What can I say?
I don't know. I mean, so what do you think about the A's movie now? Like,
That was my next thing. Anytime a team moves, you are disenfranchising kids who grew up watching that team and old people who have no one to root for when they're gone. Teams should be subject to what is called eminent domain, where the cities that team wants to move, let them sell it to the city if necessary
yeah.
to keep them where they are.
Well, they did it before when the Expos moved from Montreal to Washington. They were not the Expos anymore. They got a brand new name. They became the Nationals.
There's a big history of teams moving. The A's moved once before.
Yeah,
Twice before.
from KC. Or,
But before KC, there was where? Philadelphia.
oh yeah, the
You
Philadelphia.
would have won a book if you came up with that.
Philadelphia, yeah, Philadelphia. Yeah.
Let's hold up the book for a second.
All right, here.
Okay.
Let me. Sorry, I'm go ahead.
Where can you find this book?
On Amazon.
And you can hold up the book again. I'm sorry, Chris.
I'll hold it up,
There
Chris.
you go.
You
Either
know,
way, just as long as you keep it on a camera, I can keep it on, folks.
Now,
There's
what,
the
hap-
book.
There's
what
the
happened to the A's is that the whole techie boom money world became part of the Giants fan, and they kind of left the A's behind, didn't they?
Well,
I
they
mean,
had territorial rights,
the A's
fairly or unfairly.
because I go to the A's games because I'm an Angels fan, and actually I got thrown out for smoking weed. So, I mean, but the thing is, I do feel bad for people who took their kids to the A's game. I'm like, what kind of loser?
Hey, I
takes
feel
their-
bad for you being thrown out for smoking
Who
weed.
cares?
Right, exactly. That should be antiquated because it's legal in California.
It is
And-
legal.
Only guys like you and I and Paul, say hello.
Hello.
All right.
I'm sitting here typing my name as
I thought I was being clever about it too.
Well,
I
we know what it took to finally legalize marijuana.
Yeah.
And now they call it cannabis.
I don't know if it's really that legal though. I mean,
Well, it is very legal.
I don't know how legal it is because it seemed like it was more legal when it was the medical marijuana days, you know.
No, it's less legal when it was a medical.
It was cheaper. It was funner. I mean, I would go to the weed lounges in San Francisco during those days. You would show up on different days. They would have demonstrations. You could try stuff. Now they won't even let you do that. The law, when they passed this current law, Gavin Newsom actually, they decided the dispensaries can't give out anything for free. Nothing on your birthday, nothing at all. And in fact, if you work for these dispensaries, they can't give you free weed. They got to charge you at least a penny.
And if you really want to feel irked about it, the people that are making a profit, like the government, for instance, and the cities who tax it extensively, are the same people who put people like you and I in jail
Yeah.
years ago.
But it's
So-
not legal because they can still arrest you, you know. They catch you with enough. They catch you growing it, You know, they can still arrest
No,
you.
you can grow up to a certain amount.
How much can you can roll?
You can grow up to have up to 6 plants.
6 plants. I mean,
So it depends on the city and county, right? So I know in
Right.
San Francisco it's like 16 or 18 or something like that. And
that's
so-
what I'm saying. That doesn't sound legal to me, though.
Okay, well, there are certain laws in each city or county that you live in.
It's
that you have to-
decriminalized, but it's not legal, you know.
It's pretty good.
It's good, but it could be better.
It
you
could
know?
be better. Everything could be better, Chris.
And you know what? They messed up because, I mean, Gavin Newsom's in the liquor business. They don't realize, like, you know, the black market is always going to be there. These dispensaries they got like to compete with the black market. Their prices got to be reasonable. If it's not reasonable, nobody's going to go there, you know, unless you got a lot of money. I mean, I got friends who are willing to spend gobs of money on the best weed they can find. But most people I know, they'll call a buddy, like, hey, you got any weed? I try and get it for free. I was at a comedy show Friday night at Cal's, and I straight up told the audience I ran out of weed. Who's got weed for me? Somebody just gave me some weed.
Nice.
Yeah. But it's not legal. I mean, it felt more legal back in the medical marijuana days, you know.
I understand. But you know what? They had strict restrictions on who could buy marijuana medically.
Yeah.
You had to go through hoops, get licensed, get a doctor's prescription.
It wasn't even that hard. I would just show up to some place, give them like $50, and they would give me a card for the
Well,
year.
you're Chris.
What's up with
Everybody
your-
doesn't have that privilege.
What are you talking about? Anybody could have gone. The place was like on 16th and Mission. I would show up once a year, get a card. I mean, it was easy as hell. In fact, it was even easier to sell to the dispensaries back in those days. Anybody could show up with a bunch of weed and just sell it to them, you know.
But theoretically, it keeps the pot that the dispensaries buy and then resell pure.
That is true. That is, and
Pure and uncut marijuana.
Well,
I have thought about that.
Well-
There were times where I thought that maybe I should strictly,
sorry, I had to say it.
smoke
that's all right.
dispensary weed, just because you never know what kind of chemicals they're putting in this
Yeah,
shit.
I guess you have to worry about the regulations and things
Absolutely.
being tested and stuff.
And
Yeah.
for the first time in my life, I found a dispensary in Alameda, California.
What is it called again?
But hold on, are they sponsoring? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I'd like to get them as a sponsor, and they may yet.
Okay, so pitch them. Look right at that camera and say, "I want you."
I want you, Park Social, and I'll tell you why.
Paul Social.
Your prices
Park.
compete with the black market.
Oh yeah.
And that is something I've never said or been able to say about any dispensary. They get the top of the line stuff. They get good stuff at a horribly unreasonable price.
We're in
Park
Alameda.
Social on Park Street, downtown
Paul
Alameda.
Social. Paul
Park.
Park Social. I
Yeah,
thought you
yeah,
said.
I'm in
I
Park.
thought you said Paul Social. I'm
No.
like,
I'm in New York.
He's in
Park
New
your
York.
car.
I was
You
like,
could live on the street where you park.
thank
your
God I
car.
found that. I was about to Google Paul Social. I'm like, what the hell is Park Social?
Park Social.
So hold on. So this is a true test of a New Yorker, at least when it comes to Zig. So Zig, where are the Mets from?
The Mets are from New York.
New York.
New York.
They're from New York.
Yeah.
Get it?
And they replaced the Giants and Dodgers,
Yeah.
who had moved 5 years earlier, talking about eminent domain. Something could have been done to save them. And tomorrow, I have 2 Dodger fans on to talk about that move and what preceded it, and how O'Malley was exited out of town and ended up in Los Angeles with the greatest sweetheart deal going. Now the Mets came in 5 years later,
Hmm.
and they replaced the Giants and Dodgers, but not in anybody's heart.
Now, this is an interesting story because I was hearing rumors that the Dallas Cowboys were going to win the Super Bowl this year, that it was rigged for them because the owner of the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, financed the stadium to build the Las Vegas stadium where the Raiders play, Alliance Stadium. And I heard the rumor that they were going to give him the Super Bowl this year because he financed that stadium.
He
And I-
financed the Raiders Stadium?
Yeah, the one in Las
Jerry Jones did?
Yeah, in Las Vegas because the Raiders were going to move to San Antonio and he didn't want the competition. He didn't want another team in Texas.
Very interesting.
So,
I've never heard that
but
before.
the Cowboys just stunk it up and they ruined it by losing last night. But yeah, somebody told me this story. I actually believed that I was this close to hopping a Reno to put money on the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. Nah, I told a couple of people. One woman looked at me like I was batshit crazy, and I can see why. After seeing the game last night, I'm like, oh, maybe I am batshit because the Super Bowl is in Vegas this year. It's the first one ever, right?
Mhm.
So I'm a Niner fan, but I was like, boom, they're gonna win this. And even at halftime, I thought, nah, they're gonna come back. They're gonna come back. But hey, man, I don't, but the Mets have their own history now.
Yes, they
I
do.
mean, the '86
As a
team,
Met fan, I go, yes, they do.
the '86 team is crazy, and I remember the '86 team because those Red Sox. They came back on the Angels to win, to go to the World Series,
That's right.
So
And I'll give you another
So
trivia
that
question.
that team-
Which relief pitcher?
Donnie Moore.
Donnie Moore. You knew what I was going to say.
Didn't he kill himself
He
like 2
killed
years? He
himself.
killed himself a couple years later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Donnie.
I was dying to hear what he was going to ask.
Donnie Moore, man. How many books do I win for that? You didn't realize I'm 51. I'll never forget Donnie Moore's name. It might be the last name I come up with, like
It
on
might
my
have-
deathbed.
it might have
What's
been
the
the-
name of that guy? It's Donnie Moore, motherfucker. And then he ended up killing himself, and I was like, boom.
Okay, so
You
here's
win a book. You win a book, Chris.
There
I
you
win a
go.
book. Is this really a baseball book, or
Well, it's about life, it's about baseball, but isn't life about
Let me read
baseball
it.
and baseball about life?
let me read a passage.
Baseball is either a microcosm of life, or life is a microcosm of baseball.
There you go.
That reminds me. I was watching the Critics' Choice Awards last night, and Paul Giamatti won for Best Actor, and he started talking about his dad being a critic. I'm like, your dad was commissioner of the Major League Baseball. What do you mean he was a critic? He's all, my dad is. I remember my dad because he was a literary critic. No, your dad was commissioner of baseball. What are you talking about literary?
Well, maybe before that?
Probably maybe before that.
Before that, he was a highly esteemed intellectual. So
Yeah.
he was one of those.
He put
They
Pete
could-
Rose away, didn't
What
he?
did Giamatti win it for? Because he's got some weird ass movie that just came out.
Oh, The Holdovers. He's playing a teacher.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one. I just saw a trailer for that the other day, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of unique.
Yeah, you could tell this. I think they also won Best Actress or Best Supporting Actress. There's a couple movies that are cleaning up. Oppenheimer, Barbie, and The Holdovers are cleaning up award season so far. The funny thing is they came out with another Color Purple movie, and the Color Purple, the original, is known for, I think they were nominated for like 9 Oscars, didn't win anything, and the same thing is happening to them again.
Oh, really?
They're nominated, but they don't win any awards. It's like, it seems like racism is playing into Hollywood again.
Again,
Again.
has it ever not been a factor?
Nah, it's never not been a fact. And of course, we got Ali Wong won another award for. I haven't seen that Beef. Do you know Ali Wong? Or
I know of them.
yeah, she's a comedian actress. So do you go to a lot
I
of
know of her.
Yeah.
Not enough to get gender involved. I don't know enough yet.
Oh, it's a woman.
Ah,
It's a woman. You thought it was a man because the name is Ali?
yeah.
Nah, it's a woman. It's a woman, yeah. That is pretty funny.
Want to clear up the Pete Rose thing?
Yeah, let's go on for P. Rose.
All right. Let me tell you something. The
Yeah.
biggest argument for forgiving Pete Rose is he bet, but he didn't bet against his own team.
Of course he bet against his own team.
How did he bet against his own team? By not betting a game that he thought he was going to lose.
Oh,
In other words, and he was the manager at the time, so if he thought his pitching staff wasn't up to snuff for that day, he wouldn't make a bet.
oh, so you only bet on them to win.
Right.
But if you bet on every game
If
but
you
your
don't
own,
bet, if you don't bet at all, it's like telling the bookies that it's like increasing the odds, and the manager is telling the bookies.
damn.
So, therefore, he should remain suspended for the rest of his life, and then, like Leo DeRocher and Ron Santo and a few others, be elected to the Hall of Fame posthumously. So he doesn't get the benefit by it, but there's no Hall of Fame without Pete Rose. And there's no Hall of Fame without Clemens and Bonds.
Now my
And
argument,
a number of others.
my argument is like, I mean, nobody's even come close to that record though. You know, I mean, has anybody even? We've had so many great players. You know, I mean, nobody's come close to that record though. The hitting record, the home run record is one thing, but the thing about it, you can take all the steroids you want, but you can't. You're not gonna break that record. That record has not even been touched in like since he broke it. And
Well,
stuff.
if they're using that as an excuse to keep Bonds and Clemens out of the Hall of Fame, you must remember that 80% of the players in the era that Bonds and Clemens played in were juiced.
Oh yeah, probably more than that.
So you can't compare eras to eras when you're comparing ball players, but you can certainly compare Bonds and Clemens to their era where everybody was juiced. Why shouldn't they be in the Hall of Fame?
You know, a better argument is, you know, the writers are the journalists are the ones that vote for the Baseball Hall of Fame. How many of these people are sober on their own? Like, we own drug tested journalists, you know. If you're a baseball writer, instead of accusing Barry Bonds and Clemens of being on steroids, why don't you show up with your own drug test?
And
See-
why don't you
see if
why
you-
don't you drug test the fans who
Yeah.
are paying good money?
Yeah.
If they don't like it so much, how come they're
Yeah.
juiced? Anyway,
I gotta say, I've seen Barry Bonds hit a bunch of home runs in person. That was the great thing about Barry. I mean, chances are you showed up to like 5 games a year, you might see 5 home runs, you know. But I mean, yeah, baseball used these players to bring back the attendance. But the main thing is, I think. The main question is what happened to baseball. In the 80s, baseball was king, you know. Baseball was the biggest sport all over the world. I remember I used to argue with my own teachers about the all-star games between the American League and the National League. All that, I mean, baseball was king. We got Steve Garvey running for senator, you know. But what the hell happened to baseball? Like, it's like nobody even cares anymore. I didn't even watch many postseason games this year. It was
well, it
like,
sounds like you do care because you're talking about it, and
yeah,
your questions are good, and your answers are good. It even won you a book.
yeah.
All right,
Donnie
Hold up the
Moore,
book.
Donnie
Donnie Moore.
Moore.
All right.
You know, every time I go to Angel Stadium, I think about Donnie Moore. Like, I think about that moment, that '86, that moment, the difference between the current pack of Angel fans and the ones before. They never experienced '86. '86 was a hard, but I wish that the Angels had moved to Vegas because the Angels are never going to compete with Disneyland for attendance. Disneyland brings in like 2 million people a day. How the hell are you going to compete with any of that, you know?
Big questions. Paul,
Yes.
chip in.
Oh, it's great because I'm actually listening to you guys really get into the sports aspect of it. And I've been just sitting here micro producing.
Who did you root for as a kid, Paul?
Definitely the San Francisco Giants.
And you rooted for the Angels.
I'm in Angels. You know, my first baseball game ever was the Dodgers and Giants. So I remember it. I was like, it was in '81 or something. I remember that the A's were actually the better team for a while. The Giants were the bad one, and it kind of just switched it up, you know.
A better team. They had a 5-year stretch where they won 3 World Series, and they were sandwiched by playoff wins.
Yeah.
So they were the last dynasty, true dynasty in baseball.
It's not true. That dynasty continues. It's continuing in Texas, where Bocce won. Bocce's a real dynasty. The manager just won another World Series. How many people win 3 World Series is good? Another team.
But that was the Texas dynasty.
But I'm saying, what happened? Why are you gonna get rid of this guy? Didn't they fire him and stuff? Or
Bocce retired.
he didn't retire because I mean Texas, that stadium is like 100 degrees at nighttime on the summertime. Like, how the hell we got Houston and Texas back to back? You know, I mean, at least at least what's his name won his World Series. You know.
Time out. Paul.
Yes, sir.
What's your biggest baseball memory?
Probably the earthquake.
Oh yeah, the earthquake. Yeah, were you there?
Probably the
Yeah.
earthquake and being at Candlestick Park and worrying about the whole thing crumbling.
I did a podcast.
Wait, was that in the Coliseum though? That game was in the Col.
It was in
It was
'89.
in '89. It was in Candlestick.
Sick.
No, it was in the
The
Coliseum.
earthquake.
In the Coliseum. Oh, because it was Battle of the Bay.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah, wasn't it like a?
No,
Wasn't that game in the Coliseum?
no, it was in San Francisco.
You want to
I
bet?
bet you. All right, so let's look it up. Who's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
win the book this time?
You want to bet? That game
So,
was in
I'm gonna win
Oakland.
I'll win the book back if that
Look it up. I'm
game
telling you.
wasn't played.
I'm-
Hey, let's ask this, guys.
Let's-
Hey, by the way, thank you all the live listeners. We got YouTube, Facebook, and Africa. Thank you for tuning in.
No, it was in
If you
San
guys know,
Francisco.
the answer to
can
this,
look-
feel free to chime in
we
and
can
let
look
us
it
know.
up.
Well, I know the answer to it because I did a podcast with a person named John Leankakis, and he did a video documentary. He just happened to have his camera with him at a movie camera at Candlestick, and his documentary won many awards, and it wasn't an award winner because the game was played in Oakland. It was an award winner because the game was played in San Francisco.
Well, then I was gonna say, you asked me another memory. Another memory would be that, like I already told you that I was a Giants fan growing up, but I was also an A's fan. I'm basically a Bay Area diehard sports fan, and even now, what Raiders are in Vegas. The Raiders have gone to L.A., to Vegas. They've always come back to Oakland. I'm a diehard Bay Area sports fan.
Then you'll love it when I have Nancy Finley, the niece of Carl Finley and the daughter of
Oh, the A's owner, right?
the niece of Charlie Finley and the daughter of Carl Finley, who ran that franchise for Charlie. Charlie was back east. He was in, and Carl Finley was out here running that franchise. And Nancy has been not only my friend, but a podcast guest many, many times. And I'm going to have her next week or the week after on my show talk about those days when she helped move from Kansas City to Oakland in 1968. I had already been out here in the Air Force, and I remember it very well. Catfish Hunter pitched a perfect game soon thereafter, and they, Campy Capaneris, because of my Tops Connect, became a good friend. And I have many, many, many shows in the can about those days. And a couple of weeks, Nancy Finley will join us on my new show, Zig in the Zone, Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, Ed Studios.
Oh, really yeah, it was in Candlestick Park. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was. Get back the book. You're dealing with the New Yorker here, Chris.
Oh,
I'll take the book right back.
Well, the funny thing is you guys were asking me about my memories, and I was like, is my memory that jacked up that I can't remember? I'm remembering something that didn't really happen?
I remember yesterday.
I remember yesterday. I remember, it's funny, the things I remember and the things I don't remember.
Sometimes it's good to block those memories.
Yeah, is it?
It doesn't have to be baseball.
It doesn't have to be baseball.
Well, let me give you a memory
of
Oakland. Oakland Coliseum, 1973. I'm a Met fan.
Right.
Living out here, and I go to the 6th game of the World Series. Mm-hmm. And the Mets lost. And I have never been so heartbroken over I remember leaving that stadium, and I've never been so disappointed. Why? Because I knew the momentum had shifted, and they would lose the next day.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a good memory.
Well, my favorite player...
I try to block that.
My favorite player growing up was Reggie Jackson. I was a Yankees fan. I moved to the Angels, and then I stayed with the Angels. But yeah, I mean,
well, you know, Reggie played for the Angels as well.
No, yeah, I know he played for the Angels. He was on the '86 team. Yeah. That is crazy. Yeah, like, but the Mets won in '69. Didn't they win the World Series in '69?
Yes, they did. '69, but in '73 they just made the World Series and didn't win, and didn't thrill me.
Do you think it was better back then with less playoff teams? Like, you won the division, there were only 4 teams in the playoff.
Made it more pure, but at this point you've got 32 teams.
Yeah, you got 32 teams.
You've got to keep people's interest, and the playoffs have surprisingly worked out well.
Oh, yeah. So do you go to games? How many games do you go every year?
I go to 20 or 30 games at the Coliseum because I can walk to them from my house in Alameda.
Oh, yeah. But Alameda has no BART station. Do you drive?
No, it doesn't have a BART station, but it has a bus to take you right to the ball.
Yeah. A lot of people like Alameda. How long you been in Alameda?
30 some odd years.
Damn, you've been there 30 years?
Yeah, raised my kid there.
Oh, yeah?
And
back when it was really military? Now it's like less military.
Military, and they are building up that area incredibly.
Yeah.
So,
what's Alameda's favorite baseball player?
Alameda's favorite baseball player.
He has a street named after him.
Willie Stargell.
Willie Stargell. That's right.
Look at this. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm watching I'm watching the show, and I'm like going, this is great.
That's the street you get on when you get on to go to Alameda. Yeah, Willie
Paul,
Stargell.
I don't mean to interrupt. Chris, I don't mean to interrupt you. Paul, that's the kind of thing that my video podcast
Right.
is going to be about.
Okay.
We're going to play background videos of this stuff
Okay.
when we talk to people. And I have a litany of interesting people who have become regulars on the Comfortably Zone network.
But then I'm gonna have to learn how to walk and chew gum at the same time because I've got my hands going and my brain going.
Tell me about it.
Well, yeah, let's go back to that. Even last time you were here, you took a spill.
I took a spill. I was the happiest little Jewish kid in the whole world walking out of here. You and I had just agreed that I would do my video podcast here. And Paul, we've known each other 10 years.
Right.
We haven't seen each other in 9.
Right.
But we haven't had a disagreement. I remember when you and I were doing, if you'll excuse the expression, John Miller's.
Oh, wait,
when we were a couple monkeys fucking a football.
Don't mention that guy. Don't mention that guy's name here.
Did you have a name?
Call him Voldemort.
Voldemort or
Voldemort.
You know what I used to call him? I used to call him Pig Vomit.
Pig Vomit.
And the reason I called him Pig Vomit is if you've ever seen Private Parts with Howard Stern, Pig Vomit was Kenny, that the guy who ran NBC that they were fucking with at the end. He was the producer.
Yeah.
And the reason I called him that is because he was constantly walking into our show and kind of just making his presence known on every podcast that was at the studio. So,
but you know what's really sad? That he set up the network as free, FCC free, with the idea it's the people's network.
it's radio for the people, by the people.
And he had the great idea, but one of the people involved was
him.
John Miller.
Was him.
It was him. And you know what? We are carrying his dream out here because we are for the people and for each other.
You want me? I've never told you. I used to have a show with Luke, another Luke.
It wasn't Luke Sauer. It wasn't Luke from What's Really Happening.
Luke Lockfield, right?
Oh, Lockfield, yeah.
So we had a show, and we had a comedian. He's kind of big time now. He's a big dude, and he sat in a chair and he fell and he broke the handle of the chair. And John Miller demanded $100 from us for breaking that fucking chair, right?
You could buy another chair for $20.
Yeah, and next thing you know, that was it. Luke decided to fuck that guy. We're not paying for shit, so we quit the show. 6 months later, I go to the station to do somebody else's show when it was in the other place. You know that chair is still sitting there. broken. Same fucking chair. And I'm like, didn't we have a fight over that stupid fucking chair? And he never even fucking replaced it. The same fucking chair, still broken. And he wanted to know who the fucking broke it. And we wouldn't tell him. We're like, we're not telling you who the fuck broke it. You know?
John Miller had incredible technical skills.
Yeah.
And he could have, if he had
his people skills. His people skills suck.
They never crossed. Never. His people skills and his technical skills never crossed. And we each have our stories, but
here's the funny thing is that I'm not prompting any of this. No, here's the cool thing is because if people are watching this and know that I have an issue with that individual, it's kind of like our past president. If I don't have to mention his name, if I don't even have to think about him, great. Right. Same thing with this guy. But, he's a waste of. Hold on, he's a waste of time and space in my brain. So I've already actually evicted him from my brain. So I've got all this free other space to do whatever I want. It could be silly stuff.
But you interrupted that with that cathartic conversation we had. You didn't start it.
Right.
I started it.
Right, no.
But it was cathartic for you.
But it was also no. I thought it was cool because I didn't have to say it. Anybody that knows that individual
Right.
would be able to watch this conversation and go, "Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
him." They didn't skip a beat. Nobody's lost anything. And again, it wasn't prompted by me, but anybody that knows that guy, they know that's what he's about.
My first day on the
Waste of
job.
space and time in my brain. So goodbye, sir.
My first day on the job, and all my goals were completed. Just to get it off my chest. It
Right.
felt good.
Yeah.
In a sense, it felt good because this place is what that place could have been. And Paul, it's a compliment to you.
Oh, I
that
know, I get it.
You had the people skills and what we talked about yesterday. What makes you go, besides your technical skills, which are par excellence, you have empathy. And that's a big part of being a manager, of being a producer, of dealing with people. I watched you out there deal with on the sidewalk, deal with folks that you knew and walked by. You treat everybody the same.
Well, okay, so you have
I
to
brought
have
somebody
empathy.
back to life one time. He saw
Oh, jeez.
he saw somebody ODing on fentanyl. He brought him back to life.
No, they did all that, but
Paul's a hero,
been there.
damn it.
I've been there. Hey, don't laugh, man. So where is it? Hold on. Do I got it? I always have it. Hold on.
Well, you have your Narcan with you?
Don't you? I have my Narcan on me.
Oh
Hold on.
no.
So if you guys go down at all, there's your Narcan.
I always wanted to use
wow.
them.
I got
I had a joke like instead of doing fentanyl, why not just do Narcan? It's free. You can ask the police; they'll just hand you one. Why
You
not-
can go down to the little place down here. It's the San Francisco whatever center, and
Yeah.
they'll give you a little case of Narcan.
Yeah.
They'll give you okay. So this is what you can get from that place. Here, I guess I'll get me on camera. This is what you can get, like a case of these. You can get syringes. You can get the things to tie yourself off. You can get syringes. You can get. They look like spark plug covers because they are spark plug covers. The little rubber things that go over the top.
Oh
of
yeah,
us.
yeah. Those are great.
And
I
what do
have
they use them? They use it to suck up the air from the fentanyl off the foil.
Oh.
They will give you a test strips to figure out if you've got fentanyl, cocaine, meth, or whatever. Did you get cocaine in my fentanyl? No, I think you got fentanyl in my cocaine.
Yeah.
It's like the old, you got peanut butter in my chocolate. Yeah.
Right.
So they've got all that. What else do they have? Sharps containers. They used to have glass pipes. I didn't see glass pipes last time I was there. But they have it all.
They have
and
razor
it's all
blades.
free. You go in there and you ask them.
They
They
got
have
razor-
razor blades?
Yeah. How are you supposed to cut up your crack? Your crack.
How do you cut up all your powdered stuff?
I don't know. Somebody told me they
That's
give you
scary.
razor, but you know what? They don't give you. They don't give you fucking bongs. They don't give you.
Yeah, no, so
paper.
there's my problem. There's
Yeah.
my problem. There's not a zigzag in the place.
They don't give you anything. You want to do some weed? You're on your fucking own. But those rubber,
It's so wrong.
those rubber things.
It's so wrong.
I use
And
them
it's
for
so
my.
wrong.
I use them for my bong. That's where I put my. That's how I put my thing in.
They have the little rubber thing. It looks like it goes off
Yeah.
the top of the fucking
I have a
spark
couple.
plug.
I have a couple of those.
They're good dupe tubes.
Yeah.
They're good dupe tubes.
Yeah, I have those. Yeah. But they don't fucking.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
Anything you need to do fucking drugs, they got it for you. But you want
But-
some weed? Oh no.
No weed paraphernalia. No,
Nah,
no zigzags.
nah.
No rolling papers. You know what? They do have matches though. I think they give you matches
They don't give you like
because that you can
big
heat up
ass
you
torch.
can heat up your drugs.
That's how I got my nickname of Zig, by having the papers. I always had papers. People started calling me Zig.
You mean you didn't know he's just looked like the zigzag man?
Oh, well, I look like a lot of things.
I
I've
took
got a face for radio.
You got a
took
face
an
for
elevator.
now a face for video podcast.
I know, but
I took a
we'll
BART
see.
elevator the other day, and there was somebody inside smoking drugs, sitting in the elevator, like just, don't mind me. I'm just kicking in the fucking elevator.
But here's the double standard. they will not approach a person smoking fentanyl. They might now, but they won't approach a person smoking fentanyl on BART. But they'll approach someone that's smoking pot give them a ticket.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes, sir.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, you're not supposed to smoke or anything. But if you get caught with pot in the BART system, it's like it's a cardinal sin.
Oh, not.
But, you know, if you got fentanyl, I don't want to go over there. I might lose my life dealing with this druggie.
No, not true. I did get.
Hardly blame.
I did get busted.
Did you get busted for smoking fentanyl?
No, I got busted for smoking weed, and yeah, they did. At first, I kept telling the guy because they didn't have proof it was me, right? Because I saw them coming in, and I put the joint in my drink, so they didn't realize. And there was smoke, but there was another guy on the other side of the train who was just fucking passed out, you know. And I kept telling him it wasn't me. They're like, "Come on, man, just." And the guy said, "Look, unless you admit it's you, we're gonna arrest you and take you in." So I said, "Okay, it was me." So
and they gave you a ticket.
No, so I went in. I was gonna get my wallet out, and the guy freaked out. He looked at me like I was gonna pull a gun. I'm just gonna fucking pull a gun. I'm smoking weed on bar. I'm gonna pull a gun. No, I'm pulling out my ID. So then they took me outside. They looked at my ID. Then they saw that I live in Walnut Creek, and then they just wanted to check. I didn't have any priors. They're like, I guess they put my name in the fucking system. And then they asked me, you do know you're not supposed to smoke? I said, yes, I do. Don't fucking do it again. So I was okay. I said, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but I have seen people getting arrested. But you know the real cardinal sin on BART it is not even doing drugs, smoking fentanyl, crack, just fucking being loud and yelling at people. That will get you. And when you show up with a bunch of luggage and it looks like you're not headed for the airport, they will fucking get you out of there quick, man. That's the one thing I've seen people get fucking pulled out of BART over and over because they got a bunch of fucking luggage and they smell like shit, you know, or they're yelling at people. Yelling at people is another boom, you know.
Oh yeah, that always makes for a negative situation.
Oh yeah.
What would you guys be talking about if I weren't here?
It would probably be comedy related.
Talk some.
It's only because I'm producing at the same time and I'm taking my time with it. But yeah, sure, I'll talk. So did you perform last weekend, Chris?
Yeah, I was at Kel's on Friday, and there were some hecklers. And
did you get the heckler?
I got the heckler a little too well.
Well, because you're always at the end of the show, right?
Yeah, but
so did the heckler stay around, or were they too drunk?
I did walk. Like a bunch of women showed up. They're Canadian college students, and they walked out of my set because I got on stage. I straight up started yelling at the hecklers, and then there's not much I could do, because I am like the last comedian on, but I'm not the headliner. And usually, like the headliners are good, but Tammy Tea Leaf just fucking killed it.
Oh yeah, she can take down a room.
I'm supposed to follow somebody who just ripped it up, It's fucking embarrassing. In a way, I wish they had decided to ignore me and not put me on.
Yeah, Tammy T Love kind of leaves a wake of if you're not strong enough to follow her. Oh my gosh. So I don't think I've had to follow her, but I've bombed right before her set, and I did okay right before her set. I've only performed, I think, 2 times with her. And the first time I met her and actually talked to her, I bombed. My set was so bad, dude. It was silent. I mean, even the crickets are like, keep it down. And shit. It was horrible, dude.
I had her booked on this show, and she backed out on me.
Really?
But she is older than me, so... anytime somebody...
By the way, people stop backing out on hosts.
Yeah, I mean...
it doesn't matter which radio station I've been at or what studios I've been at. It doesn't matter if it was the first inception of this, the other one in the Mission. Doesn't matter. Everywhere I go, you guys are flakes. I thought you were professionals. I thought you were trying to promote yourself. I thought you were trying to get yourself some airtime, some play, some
Some fun.
and also some fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably just sitting at home getting stoned,
So I like to,
which
when-
is fine. But
you know, I like to yell at the hecklers, but I yell too loud. Like I just started, and at one point I wasn't even saying anything. I was just yelling gibberish at them.
right,
And yeah, these like I think there were 8 college students from Canada.
and you walked them.
They all like bailed on my set. They all, and you know, people. I don't know why people always like want to bring that up. You walk people. I'm
Wait,
like,
so this is it's a Friday night show,
it was a Friday night show.
and what time does it end? What time do you go on?
I go around 9:45.
So people are already tired. It's 9:45, but it's only Friday. It's a Friday night though,
No,
and
but-
you're in North Bitch.
Yeah,
And so-
no, because they go on the host gets on the stage. He said, "Thank you for coming. It was a great show. Oh, by the way, we got a special guest. He just kind of dropped in out of nowhere. You know, would you like to see this guy?" And that's fun. And they say every week same bullshit. I'm there every fucking week, same bullshit. He's a special guest. You know, and my thing is like,
Oh,
hey,
so are they building you up too much?
no, I mean it's all.
He's been on the Tonight Show. He
I would-
opened up for Bill Burr.
Yeah, but it's like you know, at this point they were ready to leave. Maybe they were tired because this club turns into a dance club afterwards.
Oh, jeez. So they're waiting. They're ready for you to leave.
Well, no.
Maybe it would be funny to watch you dance.
No. You know the people who go to the dance club and the audience. They're 2 different groups.
Okay.
The audience is more like 30s and 40s and 50s.
But are they bailing by the time the last comic is getting off stage? Are most people walking out? Are they collecting tip money? So that's the other thing is
there's no tip money. This is they pay to get in.
because it's Kells.
There's no tip. But then I realized why am I losing out? So now I decided every week I'm gonna tell them the sad story. I'm sad. I just ran out of weed. Who's got weed for Christmas?
Oh, by the way, can I say something? I know you just told me there's no tips. Can I say something? I'll say something. This will go out to Vahe, right? Vahe runs that show.
Yeah, Vaya runs a show.
Love you, Vahe. It's been forever. Good to see you, bud. I think even if it's a show at Kells, that I think you should pass the tip jar around.
Oh no, he pays the comedians. He does.
No. But what I'm saying is, it's nice to have that money. Well, maybe you use that money for something. Maybe you use that for your equipment. Maybe you give more money to your comedians.
Favorite charity.
Maybe to a charity.
I don't know. I think
Maybe
if you
it's just
charge,
dogs that get.
but if you
spayed and
charge,
neutered or something,
if you charge, you really can't ask people for tips. I'm not sure.
Why not? That's kind of like saying when you go to a restaurant, you can't charge and ask for a tip. I don't know. Well, you're kind of banging them, but you shouldn't. Okay, I think you should ask for a tip. If it's only a tips only show, I think you should ask for a tip in the beginning, or say something about tips in the beginning, but then ask for tips and pass around a jar halfway through the show, and then do the same at the end of the show. You shouldn't ask more than that.
Yeah.
I think if you ask more than twice, you shouldn't ask for it right up front, because you're really just trying to get them in the mode and get them happy and get them enjoying the show.
Yeah.
But halfway through, you should say, these guys, this is how they get their money. This is how they get their gas money, their bridge toll, their Caltrain money. This is how they're able to come out here and do this comedy.
Yeah.
And so please support live comedy. And then at the end. But if you charge for a show, like at Kells, it's a professional show. You pay at the door.
Yeah.
You buy tickets, whatever the deal is. If it's one of those, you only ask for tips once at the end. And if you want to do it to support something like battered children, women and children, or spay and neuter your animal, say that. Hey, by the way, I'm passing around a jar. This is for the SPCA here on the peninsula, spay and neuter your pets.
It's a great idea.
Whatever, because people are already happy, and you're also doing something else. You're actually providing the community a service. You're making people happy, and you're giving money to another cause.
And if you've already paid the comedians,
Right.
it's fine.
Everybody's covered. Maybe
Everybody's
that's to
covered.
cover equipment. My microphone dropped and broke tonight.
Right.
I need a new cord because it's crackling. This is for advertising for my new flyer.
Yeah.
You know, whatever the deal is, go ahead and ask for that tip because it's San Francisco, it's downtown. People are already well lubricated, look it up, and they're happy and in a good mood. Get them while their pants down, folks.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my PSA.
Chris's favorite charity, Chris's marijuana fund.
Yeah, there you go.
Chris's marijuana fund.
I've had comedians, I've produced and hosted shows where I've paid that comic and they will go up there and do their set and go, hey, by the way, I'm selling my book. I'm hawking my wares. I'm selling whatever afterwards. I've even had people go, I'm not selling anything, but I've got my my Cash App and my Venmo and my PayPal.
Yeah.
You can come over and scan me and tip me that way. And I'm like, well, that's kind of asking for a tip, even though I've paid you.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll ask them for a tip at the end, and I'll split it with you between all the comics. But to then ask for, hey, can you guys scan my PayPal? That makes you feel a little...
No, if it's not your club, you shouldn't be doing that.
Right. I think that's maybe where my gratitude ends.
Now the weird thing is he gives out drink tickets to the comedians, but he's paying for those drink tickets. You know?
Wow, the venue doesn't pay for the drinks?
The venue doesn't pay for the drinks. No.
What does the venue do for them? You actually don't say that because even if you know, I don't want to know because...
I think just provides a space, you know?
Yeah, so that's... Okay, so venues. Should I get feedback on?
The tickets go back to Vahe. Vahe, he brings in the audience. He makes the tickets.
Right. So this isn't just for this venue because I don't know. I've performed at that venue, but it's been years.
Yeah.
And it was after the other Purple Onion. So this is not directed at that show. But what I'm saying is the venue should be doing their part. They should provide everybody with a free drink. If they have food, maybe a plate of appetizers. They should promote it on their website. They should promote it on their socials. They should ask the producer and or host, how else can I support you?
Yeah.
Because the more successful your show is in their venue, the more their venue's going to be successful. Mm-hmm. The more drinks they're going to sell, the more revenue they're going to get, the happier everybody's going to be.
And word of mouth, people will come back.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah.
They will tell their friends and have them come back.
And so I just got out of a long-term relationship with a venue, and I'll tell you what sucks about that show was the venue owner could complain about what I needed to do to make it better, but they never did anything other than maybe upgrade the equipment in their bar, which I'm glad they did that because some venues won't even do that. They didn't share it on their website. They had a Facebook event page that they had access to at one point. Then they gave me access to it, and I only had partial access. And at the end, for the last year and something, it never worked. I never had access to it, and I couldn't even change the lineup. They had a TV screen outside their venue that scrolled through all their events, including my comedy show that had been in that venue for over 8 years, but yet they couldn't have my picture, my name, my branding on it. What else? The only thing they did do is they gave every comedian one drink.
Oh, yeah.
And so I basically had to pay to bring performers into their venue for them to get revenue. And that's why we're no longer going together. Is because I didn't want to fight for a venue when somebody was trying to steal it.
Somebody needs a hug.
Oh, I do.
Somebody needs a hug. 8 years. 8 years. That's a long time. Man.
Tell me about the best venue.
I'm so sad.
The best venue you ever produced for?
Probably Tommy T's here in the city. The original the Tommy T's that was up there at the Century Theater on Van Ness at like Post or Geary, right across from Tommy's joint. That was the most beautiful venue that I produced shows for and did it for 10 months on a weekly. But the problem is it was San Francisco's biggest kept secret. Why? Person invested, like, not Tommy, but the person that built out that club originally, which it was Holly's. I think it was Holly's. She spent like $1 million building out that space. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And she didn't have enough money in her to back her to keep it running for 2 years. You know, as we know, any new business, you're going to lose for a year or two, right?
Well,
Comedy businesses, you might as well think you're going to fail for like 3 years. Unless you're backed by someone like Live Nation, where you have headline acts coming in that you don't really have to pay for. They just stop on your tour.
I knew that Tommy T's was in trouble because somebody showed me a text from somebody at Live Nation, somebody at Punchline, telling the comedians, do not work this room.
Right.
Do not work this room. And I think they didn't want... That's why there's no comedy clubs except Live Nation in San Francisco, because they go to war with them. And
Yeah, they have a mob mentality.
Yeah.
They have an organized crime feeling of it. And that's why I've actually written a kind of a screenplay based on that.
He was a booker.
So-
he had a show at the Punchline, and he showed me a text from, I think, that woman that used to run it, the redhead, that said, do not do this place.
Well, here's the other thing, folks. We're in the comedy business. We're here to make people happy and laugh. And why does everybody have to be so backstabby?
Hey,
I need a hug. I know. We'll go right to the phone lines. We're going for that virtual hug at the phone line.
I'm with you. I'm with you. You know, the thing about, I mean, I like the Punchline, but when the Punchline was going to close down, I thought, why not just move it? I don't like it where it's at. I've never been a fan of the Punchline being way up on that fucking hill. Why not?
You just don't like the steps.
I'm like, why not just put it on Market, you know? Why not just put it nearby? I mean...
Why not just put it at ground level on Battery Street instead of up on the pyramids? The Mayan, whatever it is.
They lost a lot of money. They lost a lot of money. They could have put it inside that mall that's like falling apart now. They could have ended up owning that.
Embarcadero Center or whatever it is.
Yeah, they could have put it right on. You know, I mean, Cobb's used to be near Fisherman's Wharf. They did move it to its current location, so it has been moved. But yeah, I don't like the steps at all. It's hard to get to. Even when I was there a couple, like last month for the open mic, not the open mic, but the Sunday showcase.
I call it the cattle call because I feel like that's not what we're all doing.
Yeah.
Getting into the back.
It's just a weird feeling being up
Life
in
is the
that area.
cattle call.
Life is the cattle call.
It
So,
is
by
a
the way,
cattle
this is the
call.
kind of bullshit we would be talking about.
Good.
Just to let you know.
It is a
You got a
cattle call,
great show
but it's
going,
like
guys.
it feels weird being way up there. Like, and I was walking around. I'm like, there's a bunch of rich people living right nearby. It's like, I don't know why they fought so hard to keep that location. I would have just moved it. Like, and the other thing I don't like about it is that the biggest stars, the biggest comedy acts, don't even perform at Cobb's or the Punchline. They put them in their own, the Masonic. They got these other huge venues. They stick them in. It's like, it seems like I mean, it's hard. The truth is, I remember it's hard to like have a comedy career without Live Nation, you know, avoiding Live Nation. You can do the improvs, but there's a reason why the improv is in San Jose. They didn't even bother to compete in San Francisco. There used to be a Tommy T's in Walnut Creek, I think.
Yeah, there's one in Walnut Creek. Tommy T's also in Pleasanton.
What about you in Alameda? Have you been to the Alameda Comedy Club?
I haven't yet.
Are you a comedy fan? Or?
I am. I did comedy for a long time back in the 80s.
Oh yeah. What's up with your sweatshirt? What is that? What is that design? Is that a city or?
It's New York City.
That's New York City. Oh, look at his sweatshirt.
Can't you see the Empire State Building?
Oh yeah, I was in the Empire State Building when I was a kid.
Oh, and there's one of the Twin Towers.
Oh, just one.
Just
Oh,
one.
damn.
Must have been in between flights.
Right. When they knit the sweater, the woman was, oh, I don't have to knit the other.
Oh yeah.
It made it easy for her.
I think we all three of us just got canceled. By the way, I'm just letting you know.
So what happened to the curb you fell on? You fell on Market
I
Street?
fell on Market, Fifth and Market. I'm coming across the street and I hit my foot on the curb and
You see his hand.
quick fell. I'm very fortunate.
You see
Could have
that?
landed on my jaw, could have landed on my head.
Yeah.
You see his hand. You should see the street.
Did you go to
It's
the
got a big
ER?
old dent. in
No,
it, man.
it has a dent. That's because of my strength, my inherent strength.
Did you go to General or did you go to
I
the
went right back to Alameda and I had my girlfriend.
Oh, yeah? You didn't have your hand checked to
Yeah.
see if anything was broken? Or?
No, I knew it wasn't broken, but
Just
she
his
put
pride.
a lot of peroxide. Yes, I fall. There's 3 women standing there and a guy. I made eye contact with all 3 women, watching me go, oh, poor guy. Well, can you imagine how embarrassed I was?
Did anybody help you get up?
Oh,
or-
yeah. The guy was nice enough to help me get up. I reached my hand out to him. I wasn't going to reach my hand out to 3 women to get me up. He picked me up, and it's really kind of cut.
What
you know.
store were you in front of?
I don't know. It was
Can you
Fifth
sue?
and Market.
Can you sue? That's like the mall, isn't it? You could sue
Can
the
I
mall.
sue because I'm an idiot and tripped on the sidewalk,
What
on
about
the
it?
curb?
Yeah, I used to fall like once a year. I used to fall like I've had some bad falls, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've never really
Well, I
broken
consider
anything.
myself lucky, and it's been about a week, and it's coming along.
I used to go to this weed sesh that the end of the night they would throw things to the audience.
Oh yeah.
So they would have us like in a big group, and the guy would send the stage, and I think he threw an eighth up, and there must have been like a 50-pound black dude, and he wanted the eighth, and I wanted it, and he hit me accidentally. He didn't mean to hit me, but we were trying to catch this thing, and I fucking went. I slid on the floor for like a mile. Slid on the floor. And I thought it's unsafe, but it's like the funnest thing ever. The sesh that they would throw shit at, but some of these people look like they were like football players. They're like jumping a mile up. I'm like, I'm not a fucking athlete, so yeah. But-
Really?
No, I'm not an athlete at all.
All right.
I never played shit. My brother was a water polo. My brother did triathlons back in the day and shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Good athlete.
not me. I'm like I don't know. I'm just the fat one of the family and shit.
That's all right. You are what you are.
I am what I am. You got siblings?
I do. I have a brother who's an accountant in Florida.
My brother's a CPA. Yeah,
Really?
my brother's a CPA in Folsom. He's not the fucking jail.
Not the prison.
Not the prison.
Folsom
He's in,
City.
he lives in the city of Folsom. I don't know why he lives in Folsom.
It's the Sacramento trip. It's
He's a Johnny Cash fan, I guess. No, I don't know. Yeah, my brother's a CPA and shit. Yeah, but so you've been in Alameda 30 years. What was Alameda like when you first got there?
Well, like you said before, it had the base. It was a little more of a town than a city.
Yeah,
Now it is a city. It's the most well-kept secret in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful little city. And it's got its problems. What city doesn't? But it's incredibly scenic. There you go. I'd like to be sharing this with my new audience, but I just can't. But I will share a virtual hit ski. How about this? And passing it back to Paul.
So today is MLK Day. What are your memories about MLK? You remember watching him on TV when you were a kid, or?
I remember when I was growing up, I was much more impressed with Malcolm X's message, because even at that time, it was time for change, and peaceful change comes very slow. And I don't think that things have changed much since those days. I know if Malcolm X hadn't been killed, he would have had a chance to get out his message. Because if you look at any YouTube stuff of Malcolm X, wow, he was a dynamic speaker, and sometimes that's what it takes. The Especially in today's day and age, the deliverer of the message has to be charismatic. Give you a good example. Bobby Kennedy's, the late Bobby Kennedy, has a son who is...
He's running for president.
He thinks he's running for president.
He thinks he's running
He
for
has
president.
a good idea. He has some good ideas. But because of his handicaps, I don't remember what caused it. He's got a terrible presentation.
Yeah.
So people start, especially people who aren't really interested in the facts, they'll look at the guy, oh no, this guy can't be blah 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 blah. Takes charisma.
Yeah, I think he had a medical thing going on with his voice.
His voice. He's married to the woman who plays Cheryl on my favorite show. You have it as an introduction.
Yeah,
to the show. That's terrific.
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't make that intro. So
Oh, no.
I don't know. I was surprised too. I'm like, is that even legal? You can use that music?
You can. So hold on before we get nabbed and this show gets hijacked. So you can do certain things to manipulate content, and so, oh boy, yeah, we should have this conversation off air because
somewhere.
But here's the conversation is that there are ways that you can make content your own, even if there's plagiarism involved.
Yeah.
And so, like, one thing is that you guys have always have you guys gone to a dance club or a disco? Well, even if you went to a disco in 1976, the same thing applies. They would play one song, and right before that song would end, they would start the next song. But in the interim, there's that little space where both songs are playing. That's what DJs do now. It's in the mix. That's literally mashing two things together. Whenever you do that, even if it's two copyrighted things or one copyrighted thing with one ad-lib thing, like you listen to DJs in clubs now, they could be playing a Michael Jackson song, but in the middle of it, they'll do the air horn or whatever. That actually will, if you do enough of that added content layered on top of something, it's almost like, oh, this is a Paul Brumbaugh mix of Michael Jackson. And so there's still the other content there. You're still messing with someone else's content, but you're adding another layer. So in the answer of the intro of your show, as well as another show I know, if you take just a brief snippet of it, if it's less than 8 seconds, the bots won't get it and they won't care. And if you change the rest of it, as you notice, part of it is that, but then part of it is another one.
Mm-hmm.
I've mixed it up. It's now just not that title of that TV show that you're thinking of, but it's also some other product that was improvised and was mashed together, which is totally something different. No, it's not. It's the same thing. It's just layered.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like RFK Jr. running for president. It's always weird to me how all these people don't like independence, you know? Like,
Well, they don't like independence because oftentimes independence can affect the election. They don't win, but they take votes away from someone else.
By the way, you have you have viewers on YouTube, Facebook, and Africa TV, and you've also got some comments. Chris, I'm going to go right to yours.
let me hear the comments.
All right. Myron the Moron
Not
says, send the tip jar around. The Zig Man was right. Chris should start dancing around. Also, from the same user over there on Facebook, Myron the Moron says, running people out of clubs means you're doing your job, Chris.
Yeah, I am the last one, so if people are gonna leave, why not let them leave? Yeah, you know, that reminds me, I did a karaoke after my show last Monday, and one of my songs is "Beat It" by Michael Jackson, but
Right.
some of my song choices nobody loved. I did Depeche Mode, Personal Jesus, and even the DJ wasn't down with my choice. I'm doing Personal Jesus. I did the Pet Shop Boys, West End Girls. Totally fucked it up. But you know what? Somebody fucking surprised me. Decided we needed a duet. It was the Grease song, right? And so I didn't realize she started.
Who was it?
Jennifer started doing the. She did like the blue lettering, and I did the pink lettering, and Joe Mama's like, no man, that's the girl. You're doing the girls version. You're supposed to do the blue one.
So she was doing the John Travolta part.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm listening to this because it's funny because I know
did it.
Jennifer.
I was like, I was fucking it up.
That's
I
funny.
wasn't ready. I remember the song, but it was just weird because I didn't know when we needed to sing together or when it was her. You would see blue lettering or pink lettering, and it's kind of like, what kind of shit is that? Why is it gotta be blue and pink? You know?
It's like a gender reveal during your karaoke.
Yeah, she just decided she's gonna be the male. I'm gonna be and I didn't care. I mean, I wasn't sitting there embarrassed like, oh, people are gonna start questioning my sexuality because I like the song, but I prefer the women's version anyway. So I'm down with that, But yeah, she kept complaining after it started. You know what you were doing? The women's fucking. I'm like, I don't know. I don't fucking know.
That's
That's a
funny.
good response.
But Joe Mama must have did like 15 songs, dude. Did like 15 songs. I'm like, and she's like, yeah, I'm here from 5 to 2 in the morning. I'm like, holy 15 songs, but you go to karaoke?
I haven't, no.
You never been to karaoke?
No, I haven't.
You know what karaoke is?
Oh, yes, I do.
The Mint is a really nice club. I always wondered.
Where is that? Is that over in?
It's like Market and 30th, Market and 32nd, It's way up on Market, yeah.
There's an explanation why. If you've ever heard me sing, you wouldn't ask.
Yeah.
I just have, I'm Johnny One Note,
Oh, yeah.
and I love music.
These karaoke places are really damn nice. I don't understand why comedy clubs can't be this nice.
Because there's actually people dropping money. Well, okay, when we're talking about bars,
Yeah.
because people are dropping actual money in those bars. People are getting drunk. They're singing. They're having a good time. They're creating revenue. Most comedy shows in the city have 10 comedians watching one comedian on stage with 2 homeless people in the back of the room.
Yeah. They got regulars. There was one guy who could really fucking sing. It was embarrassing, dude.
For the most part.
There was one guy. I think there was one point where he was just singing to a goddamn video. I don't think there was any lyrics there, but yeah, I was like, but the enthusiasm for The Pet Shop Boys is hard because the songs speed up. See, I have a slow voice, you know. English is my third language. Spanish was my second language. My first language was baby talk, you know. But
I thought it was spokenese.
yeah, I can't do rap songs. Rap songs just go way too fast. I just don't have the capacity to like ta ba 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 ba. I don't have that capacity to do anything fast.
Yeah, that's
What
my
you-
problem with doing lists. Sorry, I
I'm
didn't
gonna
mean to
ask
cut you off.
I'm going to ask you both. What you guys want to be when you were little? When your first memory, I want to be a fireman. I want to be this.
Oh, that kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah. What? How about you, Chris?
I don't know. I wanted to be president of the world, actually.
President of the
I
world.
used to practice doing speeches when I was a kid. And at one point, I read an article from the Rand Corporation that there's going to be like a president of North America soon. So I thought, hey, that means I'm next. I'm going to be president of the world one day. You know?
All right.
What
That's
about
it.
you? What?
I just wanted to survive to this day. They asked me, I want to do a video podcast. I was 5 years old. They didn't know from video,
No,
podcast, but I was ahead of my time.
Yeah.
Paul, what did you want to be when you were a kid?
Boy. So I would have to say I wanted to sing.
Okay.
I think that was probably my first love. And like parents and other adults do, they support that until a certain age. But so I could sing, you know, the wheels on the bus kind of thing, but you wouldn't want me singing, you know, a song from Annie like tomorrow, you know, no, you don't want me singing. So I think maybe a singer, but I think it was always making people happy.
The one song I did pretty well was Raspberry Beret by Prince.
Oh, really? Was that the right
I thought-
cadence and diction kind
Yeah.
of thing for you?
Raspberry Beret, the kind you find in a secondhand store.
So you get
Raspberry Beret. And when
Close
it's
your
warm,
eyes.
she wouldn't wear
It's Michael
much
Jackson.
more.
Close
you know,
your eyes.
it was almost like Prince came back from the dead.
Right.
Oh yeah, I did Michael
That was
Jackson.
so scary. You should have warned us. We might actually get in trouble for third-party content
Oh,
because that was so much like the original.
you know the funny thing, they didn't have a book. They don't
Sorry.
have a book for you to look through to choose out songs. You had to know the name of the song, the artist, by heart. That's why it made it even harder because I mean, I know a lot of songs, but songs I know the lyrics to, that I remember the name of it. You know, there's not many of them and stuff. What song would you do if you went to karaoke? You had to sing a song. What song would you choose?
You are my sweet inspiration. The Sweet Inspirations, and Barbara Streisand sung that recorded that on her concert in L.A.
Have you seen her concert? Or?
I saw Barbara Streisand in New York before I saw her in Funny Girl when I was 16 years old.
I love that movie, by the way.
It's great. And I love Barbara Streisand, but let me tell you my Barbara Streisand story.
Oh yeah.
In New York, there's a theater called the Winter Garden Theater, and that's where she was playing. And that's where she got incredible raves. And I had tickets, me and my girlfriend at the time had tickets, 16 years old, to go see Funny Girl next week. But we happen to be downtown and we are admiring the marquee at the Funny Girl at the Winter Garden Theater or whatever it was. And sidewalks are very, very, very small. And
Did you fall on the sidewalk?
no, I didn't fall on this one, but I fell on my pride yet again. I'm a Jewish kid.
Mhm.
The woman I was with was a Jewish woman.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about the back to the curb, talking about we can't wait. We're looking at the marquee, big pictures. Can't wait to see Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
And I jokingly said, yeah, but she seems to be funny. She's got a big Jew nose.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I said it. I turn around, and there is Barbara Streisand getting out of a taxi with her poodle and her leopard skin outfit on, and all she heard was, "You got a big Jew nose."
You know, you would have thought you would have seen her nose coming a block away.
You would have, but it would have had to come up on my shoulder.
Like a
before I
parrot?
saw it. And
Yeah.
if looks could kill,
Oh my gosh.
we walked away hand in hand, and she followed us down the street. And years later, I realized that helped form her idea of the world. What you get in criticism that you aren't expecting, and what have you. And to this day, I wish I could meet her to say, "Hey, I apologize. I have a big Jew nose," but she, I didn't say a big Jew nose. I said big nose. Anyway, that
But
was
in-
my.
in-
But I love her.
In those days, like, people would play like weeks at a time in the same venue, right? So, how long was she
Well,
playing?
it was a
there?
Broadway show. Funny.
Oh, it was a Broadway show. Okay,
Yeah.
funny.
Well,
now.
and you guys were talking about earlier who was famous from Alameda, and you were talking
Phyllis
about.
Diller.
There you go.
Phyllis
That's
Diller,
what I was
yeah.
gonna say about comedians. You guys didn't mention Phyllis Diller
I didn't
because
think of it.
Phyllis Diller, you know, she was the housewife
Yes.
from Marin that came over to the real Purple Onion, not the
Yeah.
one at Kells, but the real Purple Onion, and actually, you know,
But was that the original Purple Onion, or was there another
What,
one?
Kel?
Well, she played it.
no,
No,
the original Purple Onion on Columbus.
No, but I performed in that venue. But
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
somebody
but that was
told me.
well after
Somebody
the original.
told me that there was another one.
Nope.
No, that was.
That was it.
But that place is still. There's like a restaurant there.
So the only one that's really changed is the Hungry Eyes location kind of changed a little.
Oh yeah, the Hungry Eye. Yeah. Bill
So
Cosby.
even though the original Hungry Eye was a little bit different location than it is now, the original Hungry Eye is where Lenny Bruce and Carlin got arrested.
My favorite strip club closed down. I was a big fan of Little Darlings, you know, just because I think the name is just crazy. But I was
Little
like,
Darlings.
I remember
That should be canceled on its name alone.
I went when I went to New Orleans, when I went down there,
Little
that
darling, a little darling. Remember
That one-
Yeah, that's
that one
like
street had like, there was every famous strip club in the world sitting in New Orleans and shit. But Little Darlings was my favorite name. Every time I would, I think it's I forgot the name of it. They actually do comedy in that venue now, but it has a different name. But Little Darlings was like my favorite fucking name for a strip club. It was hilarious and shit. Did you go to the strip clubs? I mean, in Columbus?
No, I remember seeing Carol Doda on the big sign out
Oh my
there.
gosh, yeah.
And but I never went to.
I passed a great mural in North Beach that was Carol Doda.
Oh,
And I didn't realize. I'm like, oh, that looks just like Owen it is.
It's-
And it was right by all the TV stations there because she was on, 36. She was like the spokes or the model, or what do you want to call it? The model for Channel 36, the perfect
Yeah.
36.
Right.
I mean,
And she
Crazy
was
Horse used to do
Much
comedy
bigger
too.
than 36.
Yeah.
I mean, why isn't there any strip clubs in Oakland? It's always been weird to me how certain cities don't have any strip clubs at all. Oakland would seem like a place that should have a bunch of them, you know? Like they restrict that stuff, you know? there's no peepholes, there's no video places, you know.
I'll write to the mayor.
Oh yeah.
The mayor that's about to be exiled.
Right.
Oh, you think they're gonna kick her out? or-
Yeah, because of all the inadequacies during her term. She forgot to reapply for a housing, or not a housing grant. I'm sorry, a grant for retail businesses. She missed a deadline. How do you miss a deadline?
Maybe she didn't want to do it, and so.
It was money. There was lots of money the feds were giving her city.
Yeah.
She missed out on a ton of do-re-mi that could have helped
Yeah.
revitalize or at least put a shot of adrenaline in the arm of Oakland. So that was one thing. Lawlessness. The crime is at the highest point it's been in a dozen years, like 12 years or
But
even more.
I
like
feel
2012.
safer in Oakland than I do San Francisco. I like Oakland.
Oh, I like Oakland too, especially the climate.
Yeah.
Climates like Alameda,
Yeah.
much more conducive to a nice lifestyle than San Francisco. Climate alone. But you know what? I hadn't been to San Francisco in years with the COVID and what have you. And last week and this week, I'm walking and looking around at San Francisco. It is still a beautiful city.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
North
I-
Beach. North. I almost had T-shirts printed North Beach comedy, but I didn't want to have any protests, dude. I don't like that
my
word.
favorite part of the city is the inner and outer Richmond.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
which
That's
was
up to the
which
one-
was originally outside lands. The original outside lands that was all basically sand out there.
right. Alameda has a lot of landfill.
Well, in San Francisco is completely landfill for the
They-
most part.
Yeah, they got a beach in Alameda. I know people who go down there and they lay out on that beach and stuff.
Absolute. It's a good beach.
Do you ever go to the Hornet? You ever go party on the Hornet?
Many times.
Oh yeah, because you were in the Air Force, right?
Well, no, that's the Navy, but
Oh, the Hornet is in. Oh yeah,
yeah.
I went to an aircraft carrier in San Diego. I went on the Midway. They have an aircraft carrier, an old one that they don't use anymore. You can go kick it at the Midway, but yeah, they do parties on the Hornet and stuff. You know, yeah.
Hornet is said to be haunted.
Yeah, I heard that it's really haunted and stuff, but that's why they do raves there. You know, people don't realize it. You go in there, you're on mushrooms, you talk to dead people. I mean, that's crazy. You think it's haunted? Have you experienced anything?
I haven't experienced it firsthand.
How
but
about in
I-
real life? Have you ever seen a ghost or instead
I
of
can combine an Alameda story with that.
go for it?
Okay. All right. My uncle was the youngest merchant marine captain during the
World War II.
World War II. And he was 26. He was a merchant marine captain.
Mhm.
Can't imagine the responsibility he had, this, that, and the other thing. But he always said, if you get to California, check out Alameda.
Mhm.
Took me maybe 20 years to find Alameda. Found Alameda. And it is what he said it was. And I was able to go to the Alameda Museum, and he got his merchant marine officer training in Alameda.
Mhm.
And I was able to connect with the wheel on the training ship that he used. I have pictures of it. We were very, very close. The paranormal psychology. I live and have lived most of my life, my adult life, in camper vans, in RVs and what have you.
Mhm.
And I was living in a camper van on Alameda, on the base at one time. And one day, I wake up, and there is see, Paul, the quotes. there is my uncle sitting in the driver's seat, and I'm back in the bed. And I go, fuck, Harold. And we talked for a while. I'm glad you're okay. Thank God you're alive. And he faded out. We're talking about fading out.
Right.
He actually in front of my eye, and I was awake. I wasn't dreaming it. It was so real that I woke up. I had to wake up from this when he I cried like a baby that it wasn't him. And to this day, I will say that's the only paranormal experience or experience with ghosts or whatever I ever had. But I can see where people believe. I still believe that was real. And, you know, I'm a pragmatist.
Did you know he was dead when?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was in all the papers.
Oh, so what did you two talk about? Do you remember?
The thing was my, oh, Harold, I think you're alive. You're alive, blah, blah, blah. And he just shook his head like as if to say, you're okay. I came back, this was my visit to you. It wasn't your visit to me.
Don't go to the Giants.
And the way
World
he shook
Series.
his hand and his expressions, and he was like a father to me. My uncle and my grandparents raised me for the first 5 years of my life.
Right.
So, and they all three tried to make up for the fact that my parents, they didn't dump me there, but actually it was like being thrown in the briar patch. But they got a chance. My mother married a diamond dealer. It was right after the war, and his gig was to go to Europe and buy diamonds and bring them back to sell them. Now, that was a great lifestyle because
Did your mom get a big wedding ring? Or?
not necessarily a big one, but
If I was married to a diamond dealer, I'd be like,
well,
you better bring something big for me.
actually, that's a microcosm of her attitude. Well, my husband's a diamond dealer. A lot of that. She, not all of her attitude, but
Almost part of her mantra kind of falls
I
out.
remember her comparing jewelry in the lobby of where we lived in the co-op where we lived, and she woman had a costume jewelry.
Are you
and
from
she
the Bronx?
admitted-
Or?
Originally,
You're
yes,
from the Bronx, yeah. Why aren't you a Yankee fan? What the hell's up with that?
I'm going to talk about that on my first. It's in the book.
No, I got a question. Like,
Read the first chapter.
Did your
of the
uncle
book.
tell you don't go to that A's Giants World Series? There's going to be an earthquake. You want to be there.
No.
Did he tell you that?
If he said anything, he would have said, "Go take pictures, make a documentary, like John Lee and Cockles."
Yeah.
But no, he did, and that's why it wasn't. You hear all these stories of people meeting ghosts and what have you, and there's always something outlandish to it. This wasn't outlandish. It was just pure, and we communicated for a while. He gave me a nod that he knew I was okay, and he fucking faded out. And but it was here in Alameda, and it was right across from the Hornet, where I was parking my my camper van, and it was real. The only thing I can tell you, it was real to me, and I mean, anybody who's doesn't have an open mind about it, like I didn't at the time. What you'd be particularly shocked. I was shocked as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, there are things that are can't explain.
Mm-hmm.
That there are shows, the Ghost Watchers and this that.
Oh yeah. Those shows are terrible because they don't really find ghosts. Like they got a machine. Like I see some reading. There's something there.
Right.
But
They're produced, and sometimes the people that are in it or in the production and what
Yeah.
have you. But there are some things and some stories, because I watch them occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
The Bigfoot thing. There's got to be a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people that have seen, spotted, and what have you. There are things out there that we just don't know about.
Yeah, we
That's
don't
my
know.
point.
Yeah, I
And-
mean the world has got more water than land. I mean we don't know what's deep down in the oceans and stuff.
Right.
We don't know what's hiding down there. I mean we got land everywhere. We think we got every land covered,
There
but
are
we
some
don't.
inexplainable things like around water, like the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
Planes just fall out of radar.
Oh yeah, I was watching a show about the Bermuda Triangle. Yeah.
Right.
How like these planes, like it's a weird area and the planes just they go down and stuff. They lose contact and stuff. Yeah. It's all crazy and stuff. There's a lot of things we can't explain. So are you excited for the baseball season? Like
Am I excited for this season? I'll tell you whether I get excited in a few weeks when all these free agent signings are completed,
hmm
and we'll see which teams are the odds-on favorite. Right now, it's got to be the Dodgers.
Are you going to Fan Expo? Do they got the Giants have like a Fan Expo?
I've been to those in the past.
Well, the Dodgers got Otani. They got a bunch of players.
Yeah, they've
It's
got the
embarrassing.
Japanese kid, the pitching. But, you want to talk baseball, anytime you give a contract of more than 10 years to
Yeah.
a pitcher, I don't think that's good baseball sense.
Well, he's not pitcher.
Well,
but-
no, I'm talking about the Japanese kid that they gave.
Oh,
all that
yeah,
money
yeah.
to. Otani is an enigma. He's
Yeah.
a great hitter. He's hurt now. His arm is hurt now. But he's a great pitcher and a great hitter.
Yeah.
And he's got to be the show of our lifetime, baseball-wise.
I don't know. I mean,
Well, you're a great pitcher. You're one guy, and you can pitch and be a great hitter at the same time.
I don't know if we've seen like, I don't know if the
No,
Dodgers.
we haven't seen anything
I don't think
like
the
that.
Dodgers are going to be pitching him that much. So I'm not.
Well, they
I'm not
won't
really-
until they won't until he recovers from Tommy John.
Yeah, but that's his second Tommy John surgery.
Um,
He had it. He had it like 4 years ago. He had it too. I mean, I do think.
but he recovered quite nicely from that.
Yeah, I mean, he
And-
was great. I saw him pitch like twice last year. I'm an Angels fan, but I'm kind of sad that, but in a way, I kind of get it that, he wanted to be a Dodger. And the thing about it is Otani was a free agent. He was a foreigner. He didn't go through the draft. So he actually chose the Angels. He chose us first, but he didn't want to go to the Yankees. He doesn't like New York. He just didn't see himself in New York and stuff. But I mean, I thought I'm kind of surprised it was that much money, but I think it's worth it for the Dodgers just because they're gonna be able to go to Japan and sell all those jerseys. You would go to an Angels game last year.
a true fan like myself,
Yeah.
hates talking about the business aspect.
I
But let me tell
understand
you
that.
something. As much money as the players make, the owners can afford to pay them. So why not?
Oh yeah, the owners are making money. Money. Even the A's owner is like a billionaire. He's just cheap. You know, he's just cheap. He could afford to pay all these players. You know, I mean, the Angels owner, they people don't like him, but he spends money on players, so I can't fault him for that. Maybe the GM is bad. I don't know why he can't pick good players. We trade a lot of young players that are good, but
It takes more than throwing money out at players to
yeah,
have a successful franchise. How much money is he putting into the farm system, to scouting, to player development?
yeah.
You got to ask yourself that when you evaluate an owner.
Well, baseball's hard because they're drafting high schoolers, you know, and the NFL, you're drafting players who at least been in college for 3 years. In basketball, they've been out of college. They've been in college at least 1 year at this point. So, I mean, I think when you're dealing with high school players, I mean, it's a toss up. I mean, it's a toss up. You really don't know what's going to happen. It's
That's where
hard.
you put money in good scouting, and
Yeah.
that helps. But it's a combination. It's not just throwing money. It's are you taking care of player development so that you don't have to necessarily spend, if you're developing your own players,
Yeah.
you could spend less on free agents.
I mean, I swear, like last year, I went to the opener, the A's opener. The Angels were playing. Otani was pitching, and I saw like the Angels play like twice, and I even saw them in Anaheim, and I swear, at least I think 30% of the fans were like Japanese fans. They were there slowly for Otani. If Otani wasn't there, they weren't gonna show up. So yeah, he brought out a lot of people, and I can see that just doubling with the Dodgers. You know?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I'm not faulting anybody. You know, I'm not faulting anybody. I don't fault Otani for going there. And the truth is, he doesn't get 700 million. He's paying. He's got to pay taxes. I'm quite sure the Japanese government's going to make him pay taxes. He might walk away with 200 million if he's lucky.
I was thinking of throwing a benefit for him. Maybe we can sponsor.
You should. He needs it and
We'll
stuff.
have Edge Studios sponsor it.
He needs it. So, what time is your show? What time is your show?
It's on Tuesdays from 11 to 1 p.m.
So tomorrow you're doing your first show. Are you excited?
First show. I
First
am
show.
indeed. But it's a good kind of excitement. It's not a nervous excitement. It's a little bit of that, but the way Paul sets it up for
Paul is good.
for his,
He's
Paul
a
is
good
good.
producer and stuff.
Paul, are you listening?
I'm listening to every
All right.
word of it.
It makes it the transition from podcasting to video podcasting has been fun.
Yes.
Yes. Paul's to blame.
And Paul's
I
to
know.
blame. I'll take the blame.
All right. Well,
Oh yeah. So catch Zig in the Zone from Tuesdays from
streaming live
streaming live
on
from
YouTube,
from X
Facebook,
Studios, Facebook,
Twitter, and Twitcher between the hours of 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. And I promise you this.
Who's your guest tomorrow? Who you?
I have a bunch of guests. Two of them are, we're going to talk about Alameda and the beauty of Alameda.
Alameda, Willie Stargell and stuff.
Willie Estargio.
Park Social. Park
but
Social.
Basically, it's going to be a golden age of baseball show.
Oh
Where
yeah.
I'm going to talk to people about, I'm going to talk to Jack DeGrew and Robert Dinger about the Yankees dynasty from 1949 to 1953. They won 5 World Series in a row. I'm going to talk about the lure of the Dodgers with incredible Dodger fans. And they're going to talk about the move from Brooklyn to LA, and they're going to talk about why there are still so many people that worship the Brooklyn Dodgers, the memory of the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Sure.
What went into that?
Well, Brooklyn's got a minor league team now, the Cyclones.
The Cyclones, yes.
The Cyclones, yeah.
Yes, I've got a Cyclone cap. 4 minutes. Wrap them up in 4. Why don't you help us wrap it up?
So it's been exciting. It's MLK Day. Give me some civil rights memories from when you were a kid. What do you remember about the 60s?
I remember most about the 60s was change. Incredible change. Generations were affected. Families were affected by the Vietnam thing. Should I go to Vietnam? Well, I want my kid to go. I don't want my kid to go. Staying out of the draft. That was
But you volunteered, right?
I had to volunteer because they would have drafted me and I would have gone to Vietnam.
You could have gone to college, though.
I could have gone to college, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Did you?
Well, no, I was in college.
Oh, okay. But actually, I got my college education out in California years later.
Well, where did you go?
I went to Solano Junior College.
Oh, yeah, the 209.
To the 209. And I did get some.
I went to Fresno State, so.
Fresno State.
I went to Fresno State.
My former father-in-law, he wasn't my father-in-law, but he was the mother of the, he was the father of the mother of my child. And he was a professor at Fresno State.
Oh, yeah?
And
when was he there? Maybe I had him.
did you have Dr. Satin?
I don't think so. What did he teach?
He was an English literature.
Oh, no. No.
Okay, well, that's my connect with Fresno.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the gateway to Bakersfield.
Yeah, you know, Fresno State, it's like the Harvard of the San Joaquin Valley. That's what they like to
It's
call
the
it.
gateway to Bakersfield, and Bakersfield.
Bakersfield is a hell of a...
No, in Bakersfield is the gateway to drugs. So
Bakersfield is a hellhole. I don't like Bakersfield at all. I spent the night in Bakersfield one time.
The Dodgers used to have a minor league farm team
Oh,
down
yeah.
there, and I spent like 12 summers where Bakersfield was on my itinerary. So what I enjoyed about being the Tops guy is that all my old baseball heroes,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them were coaches and managers in those leagues.
Do you still got the baseball cards? I mean,
I don't have the cards. I have the contracts. I have.
no, but did you collect any cards? Some of those cards are worth millions.
The cards that were available for my collection after in the 80s were not worth much money.
Oh, no.
But there's been a rejuvenation.
The Ricky Henderson rookie or something.
Right. Oh, I had the Mark McGuire. Mark McGuire had signed his Tops contract when he played in the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
But I got a card that Mark McGuire signed when I met him down in I'm blanking on the minor league team.
How much did they pay these players anyway?
$5 each.
$5.
And a contract that says we pay you $5 now, and when you make the bigs, we have your permission to use your card on your likeness on baseball cards, and at that time, $85,000 a year. It's probably $200,000 a year.
Oh, okay. So that was a good deal.
But it's a good deal for those who made it,
Yeah.
and few
That's
did.
true.
Few did.
So
We're gonna wrap it up.
Thank you, Zig, for being on. Don't forget to catch the first show on Edge Studios welcoming you to the family. Zig in the Zone tomorrow, 11 to 1.
Hey, Chris,
that means you,
that
Myra.
means a lot. That means a lot to me. I'm
Thank you.
Very happy to have been here, and you're a strange guy, but in a good way.
A little strange.
You're a little strange, but in a very good way.
Thank
We're
you.
all strange in our own way.
Watch out for the curves. The curves here are deadly.
I'm hip. But it didn't kill me. And what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.